Christmas Day terrorist airliner incident. Federal authorities have charged a 23-year-old Nigerian man with trying to blow up a Detroit-bound airliner on Christmas Day. And officials say the suspect told them he had obtained explosive chemicals and a syringe that were sewn into his underwear from a bomb expert in Yemen associated with Al-Qaeda. The authorities have not independently corroborated the Yemen connection claimed by the man, Mr. Abdul Muttalib, who was burned in his failed attempt to bring down the airliner and is in a hospital in Michigan. But a law enforcement official briefed on the investigation said that the suspect's account was plausible and that he saw no reason to discount it. Mr. Abdul Muttalib's name was not unknown to American authorities. His father, a prominent Nigerian banker, recently told officials at the United States Embassy in Nigeria that he was concerned about his son's increasingly extremist religious views. It's not like they weren't warned, at least. As a result of his father's warning, federal authorities in Washington opened an investigative file, and Mr. Abdul Muttalib's name ended up in the American intelligence community's central repository of information on known or suspected international terrorists. Then the question could be, or would be, why was he allowed to fly on an international flight? Members of Congress who were briefed by governmental officials also pointed to a Yemeni connection. The facts are still emerging, but there are strong suggestions of a Yemen Al-Qaeda connection and an intent to blow up the plane over U.S. airspace. Representative Jane Harman, a California Democrat who leads the House Homeland Security Subcommittee on Intelligence, said in a statement, "The attempt prompted significant changes to airline security around the world during the busy holiday season." The affidavit filed in support of the criminal charges, the authorities said that Mr. Abdul Muttalib had tried to ignite a device which was attached to his body, resulting in a fire and what appears to have been an explosion. The affidavit said the device contained PETN, a highly explosive substance that was used in 2001 by Richard C. Reed, the so-called shoe bomber, whose attempt to blow up a transatlantic flight was also thwarted. Officials said analysis of the remnants of Mr. Abdul Muttalib's device was being carried out by the FBI laboratory, but it was possible that had the chemical mixture detonated, perhaps it might have brought down the aircraft. The suspect's name was inserted last month into the Terrorist Identities Data Mart environment, or TIDE, T-I-D-E. Some 550,000 individuals are registered in the database. A subset of that is the Terrorist Screening Database, or TSDB, which has approximately 400,000. By contrast, fewer than 4,000 names from the TSDB are on the no-fly list, and an additional 14,000 on a selectee list that calls for mandatory secondary screening, an Obama administration official said. At the time Mr. Abdul Muttalib's name was recorded in the TIDE database in November, the official said, there was insufficient information available to warrant putting him in the DSDB no-fly or selectee lists, and so he was not on any watch list when he boarded the plane bound for Detroit. President Obama ordered a full review of the law enforcement and intelligence databases related to the no-fly list to make sure the procedures and practices still make sense. Mr. Abdul Muttalib was issued a regular visitor's visa by the United States Embassy in London in June 2008. Representative Benny G. Thompson, a Mississippi Democrat who leads the House Homeland Security Committee, said in a telephone interview that he would hold hearings next month when Congress returns from its recess to determine whether airport screening processes were at fault, scanning equipment was inadequate, information was not shared among federal agencies, or human error was to blame. So in other words, there's millions of ways for terrorists to do damage or to try to harm. In a statement, the Yemeni embassy in Washington said, "We have yet to receive official information on the incident, if and when the would-be bomber's alleged link to Yemen is officially identified. Authorities will take immediate action." If corroborated, Mr. Abdul Muttalib's travel to Yemen for terrorist instruction and explosives underscores the emergence of that country as another major hub for Al-Qaeda, perhaps beginning to rival the terror network's base in Pakistan. So, in other words, how many countries can you fight, or how many countries can you put under surveillance? For years, American counterterrorism officials have watched Yemen with trepidation as an unstable state with multiple security challenges and an uncertain commitment to battling extremists who see their main enemies in the West. But this month has seen an unprecedented assault by the Yemeni government on Al-Qaeda strongholds, with major airstrikes on December 17th and December 24th, which may have killed as many as 60 militants and many other civilians. The Yemeni government initially said it believed the second strike had theoretically killed 2 officials of Al-Qaeda, but it's not known for sure. So, again, there are many ways for terrorists to do damage to this country. Millions of ways. And how much longer will this go on? It's the 10th incident of terrorism related to the United States this year. What comes after 10? 11. It is the 11th hour. And all these, are more signs of something much bigger going on. These are the transition days, end times transition days. A huge transition is ongoing. It's a process that's happening all around the world, day by day.